We're back to the warehouse for Floorball 2. Canada is better than America. Let's talk floorball. Welcome to the Blitzball Boys, the podcast about ball sports in the warehouse, but lately about floorball. I'm your co-host, Brendan Ruppel, along with my fellow host, Peter Del Rey.
Hey, Brendan.
Hey.
It's all over.
It's all
It's all over.
But it was a
I'm
great
not
ride.
crying
It was a great
anymore.
ride.
We're done.
We're done crying.
That was my one cry for the year.
We get one cry per
I
warehouse
saved
season.
it for November.
This is for your whole year?
I saved for my whole year.
Oh.
I saved it for November.
I usually save
And
it
now
for...
it's over.
I save it for... I have two.
Okay.
One when Jesus dies on Christmas, and
Yep.
one when he's reborn on Easter. Tears of joy and tears of sadness.
You making a joke?
I just realized that he was born on Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I was. I thought when you said Easter and that was like the correct one for him
makes
being,
sense.
I was like,
we
I
don't
don't
celebrate when he dies. Yay, he's gone.
Oh,
All
it's a
right.
good time. Back to Jesus talk for us. Canada versus USA versus Canada versus Canada. So USA versus Canada, but sometimes it was USA and Canada versus Canada.
When Pavel was on
and
the
then
court.
sometimes it was USA versus Canada and Canada. Yes.
Speaking of countries, too, by the way, before we get into the sport,
Yep. Heard of it.
how about that that rendition of the national anthem?
No, I was so... Chris Rose did so well, and then I don't know what happened with Jake.
What happened?
Where he said, my phone's going off. And first off, it was bad before that. He was getting notes wrong.
We've seen a really good mouth trumpet. And and also fully in quotes, really good mouth trumpet. It's not a real thing.
Wait a second.
But he sounded pretty solid sometimes in the past, and he did not have the mouth trumpet at all. And then I don't know if it was excuse about the phone, and then he starts giggling, I think, before the fake phone call. And then he just starts
They just start singing.
Which sort of it was a train wreck, but sort of impressive. He was able to pick up with lyrics now from where he left off.
Was he
with
at the
trumpet.
right spot, though?
I
wasn't
don't know.
even certain
I'm
if
not
he was at the right
sure.
spot. He said, my phone's going off. And I was like, what? Are you looking at the phone to see where you are in the song?
That was
It was
really
a fun
funny
time.
though. Funny time. Yeah, Chris
Fun
Rose
time.
did great.
Chris Bros did great. You said Chris Bros?
Chris Rose.
Crisp E. Rose
Crispy
Bacon?
Rose.
What?
What a good. What's the opposite of falsetto? Bass? I don't know. We're not music guys.
Truth.
Really
setup?
good baritone voice. There we go. I found it.
Barbertone.
Barbertone. Barbenheimer tone.
Barbershop quartet. Oh, no.
Should I get into the burn? Or you have anything
No,
else
not
to say?
yet.
Okay.
It was, I think I didn't expect the game to go the way it did.
Oh, we're off the songs.
What?
Yeah, we're off. I guess we're off the songs.
We're back on the songs. Now we're off the songs.
Okay.
I didn't expect the game to go the way it did. I wasn't expecting the lowest scoring game we've seen. I wasn't expecting Chelsea to miss her penalty to start. I wasn't expecting...
And not just a miss.
Essentially,
she fucked up.
she miscontrolled it.
Yeah.
And that's what the first period was for her. She miscontrolled a couple times, and it was like, who is this? But she got it back together. I wasn't expecting essentially pretty close to back-to-back penalties with, like, obviously McFlurry winning the shootout and then immediately getting a penalty that sent them into the box. Wasn't expecting that. And then I wasn't expecting how many fouls were called in this game.
Yeah.
It was
we
chippy,
were
chippy,
like just
chippy.
very wrong about all of what we said
we were
last
very wrong.
week. We gotta just continues to be a defensive wagon, and
Yep.
McFlurry also somehow does that. I guess we'll talk about precisely how they do it. Maybe there's one person in particular that really takes a brunt of it. But you're right. I didn't expect this to be such a defensive clinic. Really cool.
I wonder
to
where
watch.
you're going to go with that. Because I think it was pretty well spread out for McFlurry Power.
Okay.
I think they all did really, really well at different things.
I think they all did pretty well, but I think somebody stood out, and we'll talk about that at the end of the episode.
Well, luckily, you have player.
I
That's
do.
good. Oh my God, I was so happy when I looked at my notes and like I have listed out who has player, who has play, and I was like, oh, thank God I have play.
Oh, thank
Because I
God.
was
Brennan
between
can't say something
so
stupid.
many people. I was between so many
Oh yeah,
people for player.
I had it locked in.
Four. I had 4 people I was between for player.
I was between 8.
8. Chris Rose,
Chris Rose, Pavel,
Pavel.
McFlurry Power,
Yep. Okay.
Jake,
That's 6.
and
Jake,
Baby James.
7 and 8. Wow. None of We Got Ice made the cut.
No, they lost.
All right, get into the bird bucket.
It's a rematch of ice versus ice cream, but this time the banner goes to the winning team. Both teams call for Pavel in the first and try to spark some offense, but the defense and these goalies make sure there is no spark to be seen, just like my marriage. We are still scoreless in the second until Chelsea's steal turns into Nick Bowen's stick go in between his legs for a top shelf shot. McFlurry Power is on the board with a sparkler. A tense third period begins and We Got Ice looks like they are on the offensive. McFlurry on their heels as K-Mac, like a bartender, trying to cut someone off, stops shot after shot. With time running out, Jack grabs a stick and spastically alternates between goalie and player. The extra man gives We Got Ice a few more great opportunities before regulation ends, but they just can't come up with the game-tying goal, and McFlurry Power wins Floorball 2 with this tournament's first shutout.
Shut out.
Shut up.
How about you shut your mouth?
The fucking burn's too long. Shut the fuck up.
I get you. Why don't you stop it? So, like I said, this game didn't really go the way we were expecting it to go. I think for the first 2, despite McFlurry Power, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, despite them leading going into the third, I thought this was a very even game.
Oh, yeah.
Very even game. Especially, like, we'll talk about it, but, like, McFlurry Power scoring when We Got Ice was a man down was huge. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they were going to score if they weren't.
I mean, look what it took. Like, it took them to being a man down and for Chelsea to steal to a Nick Bowen trick shot. Like, that's what it took to get the only goal of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, this was the first time in this tournament where we saw all 4 players on both teams playing at their best, or at least close to it. You had, DZ was making really good attacking plays. Zoe was being a ball of energy. Reagan was doing her whole physical thing. Jack was making really good saves.
Yeah.
Chelsea was adapting very well to her dribbles being neutralized, essentially.
Yeah.
Because you saw Reagan and Zoe in there every time, just knocking that ball out from Chelsea cleanly.
Yeah, this is the second game in a row where she's had to deal with a very quick defensive team. And I think she handled it a lot better this time after being up against baggage last time.
Right. Nick was doing really well going forward with his dribbles and his shot.
Yeah, he's just awesome. So he's going to figure it out some way. You know you're not going to go through a whole game where he's not going to score. That'd be insane. He's going to score at some point in the game. I was just, before the game started, I was wondering how many times.
Steve was getting in front of everything.
Yeah.
Steve, honestly, if I had player, I might have given it to him. Because he really he gave We Got Ice no real chances. And then K-Mac came up with, by my count, 18 saves on 18 shot attempts.
Yes, back to Steve Dangle quick. He really, we were talking about how, I think with even Chris last week, or this week, whenever that was, Steve Dangle is the kind of player that you don't want to notice because he's a defender, and if you're not noticing him, he's doing a good job. He was doing such a good job that I was noticing him to a point, not in a bad way. I was actually seeing him do the thing people talk about, and I think Rose and Pavel are talking about it a little bit too. He's just in the right place at the right time and just positioning his body well.
He was doing, like we said last episode with
Just
Chris,
eating balls.
he was doing like what this is rude. The what the laziest person on the field wants to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you play this game, you're like, I just want to be lazy. I'll play defense. I'll try and get in the way of things. Like, very rarely did we see him sprint. Like, I think every time that the teams were interviewed, he was always the only one who wasn't out of breath because he was like, and I don't mean this disrespectfully at all. He was like just walking and like getting himself in good positions, getting off good passes. He got off a couple good shots. But he wasn't like expending a crazy amount of energy.
Yeah.
He was doing really good at the job that he was assigned to do.
Yeah, it makes sense in a small court like this, a small field.
Right.
You just want to clog shooting lanes. It's not hard to clog if you're just in the right spot because there's not a lot of room to begin with. And with this many players on the floor, if you're just standing kind of between the shooter and the goal, you're going to be doing a good job.
Well, even this, right? And I don't want to harp on this too much because we're going to talk about this throughout the game, but there were moments where he was reading the game so well, where Zoe was doing these like really cheeky spin shots where his back was to the goal and he'd just spin it and shoot it.
Yep.
And I think on 2 or 3 occasions, I saw Steve was like guarding Zoe.
Yep.
And before Zoe even started to turn, Steve like went down to one knee to make himself as big as possible with no holes.
Because people, especially people are starting to learn that's
so
the move. And if you know a person's right-handed, like, well, if they're going to wrap around, they're going to come on this side. They're going to come forehand. So I know exactly where that shot's going to come from. Let me lead in that way.
He was reading it so well.
Yeah.
But first period may have ended 0-0. It was so high energy. I think like this was the most I wrote for any period ever. We saw both Pavel plays. We saw both Pavel plays get killed.
Yeah.
First time McFlurry Power didn't convert while on a Pavel play. And I believe by my count, the total shots on target in the first period was more than 10. Which is like...
Yeah, it wasn't like the other game... was it Wooga's?
There was like nothing.
Where there was like 3 shots total in the first, but there was a lot of shots. This to me, it felt like...
good shots.
Yeah, it felt like in baseball when a starter is getting hit around but not letting up any runs. Like they're bending, not breaking. It felt like both defenses were bending but not breaking and letting any goals be scored.
Nathan Ovaldi in, what is it, Game 4 of the World Series? Was that the one where he kept loading the bases and not letting the run score?
Yeah.
Like, it was whichever one Zach Gallen had the no-hitter going into the 7th.
Yeah.
But it was a really good game, and you know, we come into this and we're hearing all the discourse on the episodes about, oh, Jack's a sieve, he lets in all the goals, and K-Mac is so good. Oh, it's so easy. Jack was playing really, really well today.
Mm-hmm. I didn't hear anyone say that. It sounds like something you just made up.
Uh-oh.
I never heard the sieve thing, so...
Breaking news.
Peter calls Jack.
Peter's an asshole. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I think I said it too. Like he's not one of the stronger goalies, and I think if McFlurry's going up against We Got Ice, I could see them scoring a lot of goals because they're a good shooting team, and Jack's not the best goalie. And here we are. They only scored 1 on a goal that no one could have blocked.
Right. And
Jack did a great job. I think he learned and got better throughout the tournament.
He did. He got a lot better. Everybody got a lot better. Like we saw in this one, the dribbling and stick control that McFlurry was like known for with Nick and Chelsea got stopped pretty well. Like Zoe and Reagan figured it out how to stop them.
Like we have to press them. Other teams that weren't pressing them were going to get dribbled all over.
Right.
But
exactly.
I think this team, McFlurry Power, needs to be defended like double teamed. It just needs man-to-man defense.
Yep, and that's what happened. You have a ball of energy that is Zoe, and you have Reagan, who is a professional defenseman. Mm-hmm. Like, DZ was doing well at his role too, but specifically for the defense, you're shutting down Chelsea to the point where Chelsea's her only chances came from long shots, essentially, and they were rips too. She was doing great.
There's that
with
one
the
from
long shots
from their side, like the initial hit area, like that corner hit, and she just like ripped it, and it was on net. Like,
she had
holy
one
shit.
from the crease.
Yeah.
There was like a foul, and she got a free shot.
Yes, I think that's what I'm talking about. Yep.
From her own crease.
Yeah.
And instead of letting K-Mac take it, she just shot it, and Jack was like, "Oh, I have to save this." But throughout this whole first period, you saw it was like they were the perfect counter to each other. And even more so than what I was saying last game with Wooga's We Got Ice, where I said they were the perfect counter. In this game, it legitimately was a mistake is going to win this game for the other team.
Pierre, I think you're the perfect
and
counter.
We saw
you know
that.
Why? Because you're an accountant.
Oh, perfect bean counter.
What does that mean?
That's what people call accountants, bean counters.
Really? I thought that was like a perverted joke. You get home.
No.
Oh,
Brandon.
one bean. Counting over.
Brandon.
Okay.
Rude boy. Bad boy.
Now I know the term.
I know the term. Full counter. 7 Deadly Sins. That's an anime. Don't worry about it. It's an anime. The main character's special move is called Full Counter. Where you go, and he reflects the attack. It's cool.
I'm sure everyone...
Don't watch that show.
Everyone knows
that show
what you're talking
stinks. That show is full of fan service, and I'm against fan service.
Now you hate fans.
I hate fans. I hate fans. No, fan service is like what people call, like, showing cleavage for anime, and I think it's the dumbest shit. Oh my god! But I could talk for. Somehow this is an unpopular opinion in the anime community. Mm-hmm. That fan service is garbage.
You're the only anime fan that's not a pervert, apparently.
Take it easy. Brendan knows.
I know
you
you're
don't.
talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, you go into the second, and again, both teams are getting an equal amount of chances. Both teams are doing an equal amount of really good defense. Like we talk about Zoe and Reagan double teaming and stopping these dribbling runs and all this. And then you have Steve Dangle, who just, like we talked about before, was getting in front of every shot. Even more so, he was like recognizing the perfect moments to just stick his stick out there and tap the ball away. I can't remember if it was the second or the third period where there was a play where DZ was like free on goal because Chelsea and Nick committed to going forward in an attack. Zoe got it away and passed it forward. DZ was like free on goal. Reagan was running up, looked like an easy pass for her to get a really good shot off. And Steve like kind of just tapped it, but he didn't do too much where like the ball went back to their other half and they had to reset, but he did enough so that Chelsea and Nick could get back on defense and really neutralize the attack.
I think a lot of defensemen could probably take a note from that. Just all you need to do is just kind of get in their way a little bit, and it messes up their rhythm. It just moving the ball in a place that they didn't mean for it to be makes them lose control. And like you said, it is smart to just kind of tip it or do whatever you need to do, because if you're just flailing like randomly or just too hard, it'll end up just kind of being wild, and maybe it'll go over the wall, and then it'll be their ball anyway, and they have control again. They get to reset, so it's smart to just be a little bit more specific about what you do.
Yeah, it was very, very good. And then in this we obviously see DZ gets called for, what was it? Slashing, I think.
DC didn't score, but he looked pretty good too. Like he carried over pretty well from last week. Had a lot of good looks, and he had a lot of like sloppy, like Pavel saying, like, get some garbage goals. Like he's always in a great spot to try and get those garbage goals.
Oh no, Zoe
just kept getting blocked. Just didn't put the ball in the net. But I think he really started to understand what his forte could be. Is just cleaning up, slopping up.
I messed it up. Zoe is the one who got the penalty for slashing Steve Dangle, which was really like a desperation. You could tell that We Got Ice wanted to. They wanted to go into the third with a lead. Zoe, like, whether it was fatigue or desperation, who knows, reached his stick around, hit Steve Dangle's shaft. That's
Yeah.
slashing. He goes into the
I know
box.
that feeling, like when you're
And
playing
then
basketball and you're defending someone and they start to get past you and your arm's still out and you're like, but stop going. Don't get past me,
right.
please. And you just like kind of wrap your arm a little bit too much around them.
Exactly. And it may be again rude to say, I'm sorry if it is, but Zoe being the one to give away the penalty kind of sucks for We Got Ice, because I don't think it's controversial to say that Zoe and Reagan are their defensive unit.
Yeah.
And DZ doesn't have the same skill set that Zoe has to be able to kill a power play like
Wow,
that.
that's rude.
And
Rude.
rude,
Rude, dude.
shut him down. Raphael, he's a rude dude.
Oh.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You see Reagan doing her penalty kill with her just holding the ball and letting Nick fight her for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think she kills like a good 10, 12 seconds.
Yep.
Just from that. But then
such a good like boxer outer. She really creates like a wall
really
around the
good at
ball.
But then, she gets double teamed.
Mm-hmm. Which is
Chelsea
the only
comes
way
in.
to handle that. You have to go double
It's
teamer.
the only way. You have the double teamer or fouler, and you can't foul because you want to win, obviously.
Right.
Chelsea comes in, is able to poke the ball away. Nick gets on the end of it, runs across the face of goal, and then, like you said, trick shot, shoots it through his own legs into the goal. When they showed the replay, it was a lot closer than I thought it was. I thought it was a very good goal, and it was like this far off of Jack's leg.
Yeah. And then still like it went straight up and like upper 90. Like that was fucking sick.
It was really cool. But then, now you have We Got Ice going into the final period down. But you get Reagan takes a shot that K-Mac saves very impressively, I thought, because I believe he had to get down really quick to save this one. Zoe gets the rebound, shoots it off target. Period's over. We Got Ice's trailing going into the third, and
they don't seem that worried in between periods.
No.
They're like, we got to do what we got to do. We're playing the game we want to play. Shots just aren't falling our way. I didn't see anything.
Oh,
what happened?
Somebody just entered your frame. Go on, everybody. Go on the YouTube to tell us who that was.
Yeah, let us know. Maybe it was a celebrity. But they were talking about how they're playing their game, and their game is just like they're not like none of them are really goal scorers, but they sort of just like they have a DZ, like I was saying before, has the slop goals. Sometimes they'll rip a shot and it goes in. Sometimes Reagan will take a long shot because she's always on defense, but they don't have any of these stick handlers like McFlurry Power does. But if they keep just kind of grinding, they are the grinding type team that they hope something will fall. Which to me, when they said that, worried me a little bit. Like, well, now if you haven't scored in the 2 periods, I see who you're talking about now. Oh, there's another one.
It was scary.
She doesn't seem to be bothered by me.
She was off on the right, and then she came back on the left. How'd that happen?
I think I'm safe for now.
Ghost.
Anyway.
Ghost.
But no, I was worried for them going into the third because they had been grinding, and the fact that they said that they had been playing the game that they wanted to and they hadn't scored yet made me feel like, well, if you're not a goal-scoring team, you have to score 2 goals to win. So it seemed a little tough. I thought at best they would tie it in the third period. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, and at worst they would lose like they did.
That's the worst?
Yeah, the worst case scenario, you lose.
But you said like they did.
Like, no, they would lose, comma, like what happened.
Oh, I was going to be like, Brendan, the worst is they get like 10 more goals.
No, yeah. No. I honestly, I was pretty sure they could hold them at 1.
Yes. So I was very interested to see how McFlurry Power was going to treat this final period. Because, I mean, like we've heard Pavel talk about it every tournament when they have a lead. Of if they just play their game, they're probably good. But they full on drop back to defend and only go off on the counter in the third, which against a team like We Got Ice, who, as we've seen in the past, Reagan uses that standing behind the goal to essentially draw a defender away so that they have a pseudo man advantage on the attack.
Right, because she's faster than most people. As soon
McFlurry,
as you
yeah,
tell her, then she's like, all right, bye. And she'll just speed past you.
McFlurry was like not falling for it. They stayed back the whole time. They knew that they had the advantage because We Got Ice couldn't waste time with stupid shit like that. So they just sat back. They
It did
let
make me
them
nervous, though. I was like, I don't know. Pavel pointed out, too, like, I don't know if this is the right play for them because they're
Right.
seemingly their best defense is offense because they're still playing a solid D by just trying to get the ball back and forth, and possession is defense in a way. But them falling back a little bit to me makes an aggressive team like We Got Ice look better on offense. It makes them look like, oh shit, now we can press further and not be stuck at the mid part of the field and have now 3 people up ahead of the half line.
Yeah.
You know,
And I mean, it
the
worked
momentum
out.
really shifted to We Got Ice, not only because of their energy and the way they play games. They're losing in the third, they're going to play hard. But I think McFlurry Power falling back sort of helped We Got Ice.
Right. They got compact. I mean, like a hockey goal is only so big, you know? And if you get enough people in front of it with the goalie as well, getting in the way of the ball and the back
Yeah,
of
that's
the
true,
net,
too.
like it'll work. And I think that this is a strategy that would have only worked specifically against We Got Ice. If they employed this strategy against Baggage, I think Baggage might have gotten a goal out in this third period because Jimmy and Kraus
They're
and
better
even
shooters.
Sam were so good with those shots, especially because in this third period, you started to see We Got Ice abandon their, clinical passing reputation and just opt for quick shots because they wanted to get these goals. They want to get back in it really fast. Um, uh,
She's going where I sleep.
which
That's where I sleep.
what are you going to do?
I don't know, but when we talk about our awards next episode, I'll let you know what happened.
Okay. Thank Brandy. They gave up this passing, and they had such good passing in those first 2 periods to get them off target. It's just that Steve was always in the right place at the right time. Steve was really helping K-Mac out. He made K-Mac get, he had 18 saves by my count. So many of those were easy just because Steve was in the right spot.
Yeah.
And you go into this final period and you make this team abandon their strength because they're in full on desperation mode, and you're like getting in there. Steve Dangle's like poking things away, getting in the way of every shot. Nick and Chelsea are still threats on offense that you have to remember about.
Right, they can shoot
You
from
can't
anywhere.
just go all out attack.
If they get space between you and a defender, they're gonna rip a shot.
Right.
And a good one
Even
too.
Jack gets up and like joins the attack. He gets a shot off that was pretty good. That was off target.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a problem with it. I think with a couple of these shooters, like with Zoe and Reagan, had some good shots, but a lot of them were hard but wide or high. A lot of Reagan's especially were like that could have been great shots if she got them on target because they were lasers. She just, I think Pavel's saying it too. I guess the way to get that shot down a little bit is to make sure you hit the ball a little bit further behind where it was. It's kind of interesting to, which kind of makes sense. But he said it's definitely like the hockey swing in her that's making all those balls fly high. So it's just one of those tough things when you really get into game mode and now you're in the championship and your adrenaline's really running, you probably revert back to your old habits. And how could you not?
Right. And not to mention there was like, whether it was desperation or whether it was, just having that adrenaline going, there were moments where there was one moment in particular I could think of where Reagan had the ball, DZ was in front of her, Zoe was completely free on the right, and she opted to go forward and ended up losing the ball before she could get a shot off. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking, well, at least I was thinking like, oh man, if only she got that to Zoe.
Yeah.
Like this could be a completely different game. Again, I think that if this went to a shootout, McFlurry probably would have won. But
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
you never
a crazy
know.
thing. Like that. I didn't think about that. If they went through overtime, nothing happened, and then they get to shootout, McFlurry Power has the biggest advantage over anyone in the tournament in shootouts.
Yeah,
between Nick Bowen and Chelsea, those two people right there. I think we've even seen a
Go.
Dangle goal on penalty shots.
No idea.
I don't know.
I can't remember. I cannot remember. But at the end of the day, this isn't like any other game that I think like where I could say, oh, one team was clearly the better team.
Yeah.
Both teams played really, really well. And like I said at the beginning, this game wasn't decided because one team was way better than the other. This game was decided because of one mistake that was made.
Yep.
And that was Zoe slashing Steve Dangle. Also, I want to say, last episode we said we like matched everybody up and said who was better than who. Is it fucking crazy for me to say that in the matchup of Steve Dangle versus Reagan, Steve Dangle outperformed Reagan?
I mean, that's a little crazy. I think it's just they're two different players only because
Just
Steve
for
Dangle
today.
plays a different game. Reagan's almost playing point guard, while Dangle's just there as a wall. So I think it's hard for me to compare them.
In terms of addition, in this game alone, I think Steve added a lot more to his team with his positioning and his poke checks and just everything that he added today.
I guess maybe
than
because
Reagan did. Reagan added a lot.
Reagan's
Don't get me
play
wrong.
was the one that turned into a goal, and a lot of her shots had potential to be goals. Like she had a lot of good opportunities to put her team ahead, and she didn't come through.
She was fantastic. Every single one of these 8 players was fantastic. Everybody played amazing today. This is what you want. You want these evenly matched teams because there's not a ton going on in terms of scoring, but it's a game you watch where you're like, holy shit, these guys really are playing at their best the entire time.
Yeah. Also, I really love when the goalie does have to get a stick and stuff. The back and forth of Jack getting it, dropping it, and then but he was doing a really good job of making sure he got back in goal without the stick when he needed to, which also made for some really funny content where he's throwing his stick in the air, falling over, trying to make sure he gets his body in the way. So him tumbling over, stick still fucking 20 feet in the air is one of the funniest screenshots. I'm gonna make sure I screenshot that for the tweet because I was laughing so hard. It was a weird moment because I was laughing the hardest I had all episode long, but also I was so tense because it was a humongous moment.
Massive.
So that's the perfect John Boy Media line that they walk is somehow funny and entertaining in a silly way while keeping you on the edge of your seats. That's a classic John Boy Media Warehouse championship game right there.
Classic championship game from the John Boy Media Warehouse. But again, we got ice. Makes the final. Makes 3 finals.
I was kind of glad that McFlurry won. I was rooting for them. Just because they're the Canadians, this is their sport, and they have been the best team throughout the tournament.
But now this sets up a narrative, right? Next, Floorball 3. If Canadians win again, are people going to be less interested in watching? If the All-Canadian team wins 3 years in a row, and I know Kane wasn't Canadian on the Worm Burners, and neither was, what was his name, Pat Shea?
Maybe.
Whoever that one was. I know they weren't Canadian.
I don't know. I mean, I like a dynasty, especially as long as now it's a franchise that's a part of it. It's not like a bunch of people come from the outside and the team doesn't exist anymore. McFlurry Power has been a franchise for a while, so I think if they keep winning, that's just the way it's going to go.
Yeah,
but I hope there's more consistency in team building now, where for the most part people can return to the teams because that's important because otherwise you lose a little bit of interest if it's just completely random and shaken up too much every year.
Hey, did you see what Jimmy put out today? I think it was where he said teams may be getting a rebrand.
No,
or it was during the game. It was like scheduling announcements. Okay. Some of the franchises may be getting a rebrand. That's kind of cool.
I guess it must be part of their 2-tiered.
I have my guess.
Leagues for their warehouse games, right? They're going to have the franchise league, and then whatever the other one is. There's got to be a part of
that. I think Pinstripe Strong is getting a rebrand.
I think this is just aesthetically rebranded.
No, I think they're getting a new name. I think they're going to get a new name.
Really?
Because Pinstripe Strong is Joe's podcast with Chris. Lou is not part of that. I think they're going to do a name that fits those two better.
Interesting.
Okay. We'll see.
I like it.
Should I go into it?
Go into it.
Player of the game.
Player of the game. Finger slipped.
Brendan has it.
I have it.
Brendan
You know who it's not. It's someone who could get it that you would like it to be gotten by. Steve Dangle didn't get it.
Yeah,
But he was great. He was great. I understand why. He did great all game. Someone else also did great all game, but I think someone that I'm going to give this to did
7 other people
even better in the third period in particular. We were talking about how all game McFlurry Power was up to snuff with their D. But the third period when they were on their heels to their own, like it was their own fault, but they're playing a lot heavier defense in the third.
Before you say this, did you think it was between, like, would Steve be number 2?
I think after talking this out, especially, I'd say yes.
Okay, that's what I was between two. These two.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Steve Dangle and our other pal K-Mac did a great job on defense. But I really feel like in the third period, when it mattered most, when they had a lead and they were minutes away from a championship, K-Mac was a stone wall back there in the goal. I think his team, by playing that far back in the third, put way more pressure on K-Mac than need be. And he also broke the curse of that stat where 4 of his 6 goals were given up in the third period. That made me a little nervous. And like they're setting this narrative up way too perfectly. So I think the fact that it was super important that he continued to be a stalwart in the third, and 2, that We Get Ice was pressuring them even more than they had all game. It was amazing that he was able to make 18 saves and not let in a single goal. It was just that's what it is. The first shutout in the tournament.
That's what I was going to say. And 3, keeping hold of the first shutout of the tournament.
The other team in the championship. I mean, come on.
Crazy. I think when I was thinking about it, and I was like, if I had a player of the game, I was like, it would be between K-Mac and Steve, easily. And I think in my head, Steve edged it out just a little bit because he like blocked all these lanes to make a lot of these ones.
Yeah.
Easy saves. He wore his glasses. We don't know if K-Mac wears glasses because he has that mask on.
That's true.
So it is a question mark. He could be wearing glasses. But no, K-Mac was incredible, not just in this game, but in the entire tournament. I think when it comes to drafting, whoever gets that first goalie pick, it would be crazy not to pick him. He was by and far the best goalie.
And he's also just like a spiritual leader too. Anytime they have an interview between periods, he's there just exuding confidence for the rest of his team. It's important.
And he's giving real answers.
And he's being silly, but he's giving real answers while also just being a confident asshole in a really smart, strategic way, I feel like.
Yeah. K-Mac, if you listen to this, please come on the show.
Please, we want to talk to your mustache.
We want to talk to your mustache specifically. Me and Brendan will have just mustaches if you come on the show.
I'll grow a mustache for the episode.
I tell Kristen all the time that I'm going to shave my beard and only keep the mustache.
It wouldn't look that bad. Oh, okay, never mind. Oh boy, she is right.
Looks pretty good, right?
You're an Italian man. Of course, you're gonna have a good mustache.
She was like, "Please don't." She goes, "Please don't, please don't do that." I said, "Kristen, I'm gonna grow my hair out again, and I'm gonna have just a mustache." She said, "Please
That's
don't
a good combo.
do that."
I'm a man who should not have a mustache, and that is a fact. There's no debating that.
Blonde mustaches very rarely look good.
Yeah, it's not all. It's just like a weird color. It's not sure what it wants to be. Yeah.
You got caramel mustache.
That sounds kind of tasty.
I was eating Snickers, but not the caramel.
My mustache is full of nougat.
but yeah, K-Mac, easy win. Good job. Play of the game.
Play the game.
That was funny. I have it. So there was a goal that probably you'd think would be play of the game.
You'd think, but you would have thought.
But much more specifically, it was the poke check steal that Chelsea had that led to the goal. Nick Bowens, we've seen, is prolific in front of the goal. We all know it, right? without Chelsea having the wherewithal to say, hey, I should be double teaming Reagan right now, come in, stick the stick out there without fouling Reagan and poking it out so that Nick could make that play, was the most important play of the entire tournament. Most important play, because it's the play that got them the championship, because it was just a 1-goal game. Like, beyond this one, like I said, this game was decided by one mistake, and that was Zoe slashing to give them a one-man down.
And that would have been my play of the game. Zoe, you fucked up and slashed, and you lost the game.
I knew you were going to pick something like that if it was you. I knew it. But it was the Chelsea having the wherewithal to get in there, double team Reagan so that she could get the poke for Nick to finish on the steal.
Yeah,
it has to be that.
That's great. No, I probably actually would have just picked the goal because it was the only goal of the game, and it was an insane goal, and we haven't seen anything like that.
Really
it was so cool. Like, that's some bullshit you do in your driveway with your friends growing up, and he can do that in a championship game. Yeah. And it wasn't even like, it wasn't unnecessary either. It was like a way to fake jack to the right and leave the left open. It was sort of necessary and perfect. Really cool.
Sort of necessary and perfect award goes to Nick.
Name of my sex tape.
What?
It's a weird title.
It's a weird title.
For a weird tape.
It's a weird title. But that's it. That's a wrap on Floorball 2. We have one episode left, just like John Boy and Jake do. Let's see. I know when we're going to record it. Let's see if we're probably going to record it on the day that they release it, which is our MO. But we have our awards episode after this, which
you freaks love.
We haven't really talked about this in detail, but we're going to pick an MVP. We're probably going to pick the best goalie of the tournament that we've already given away on this show. We're going to do a couple superlative awards that Brendan and I will come up with, which, if you listen to Talking Baseball or Talking Yanks, those are the regular old awards. And then we're going to do our draft of our all-star teams, which we will have people will tell us whose team would win. So stay tuned for that. It's typically a very fun episode. And then we're going to go into everybody's favorite season, interview season. Ooh. I've already reached out to a couple of the players who are willing to come on the show and essentially just listen to Brendan and I be fucking morons for about an hour.
Yeah.
So
far we got
those are always fun.
Jimmy's mom.
Is she single?
Is she single? I'm pretty sure she's not. Because the episode after that, Jimmy's dad's coming on. He's going to yell at us. So that's what we got lined up so far, those two. I try to reference songs that me and Brendan are talking about before every episode in the episodes. So Is His Mom Single is a reference to a song. If you can tell me what song it is. You get a date with Peter?
You can come on the show. Come on a date with me and my wife. All three of you sit on the same side Brendan. Of the booth. We all sit on the same side of the booth. We're going to bring all of our childhood stuffed animals put them on the other side of the booth.
Normal day to me.
Normal day to me. Then they're going to charge us 18% because we have a party over 6. What a bad idea already. What a bad idea. I need to pay 20. I need to pay 55. What a good tipper you are. Brendan, what should people be drinking? Drink Subtle Tea. You can buy it online at thesubtletea.com. And then when I drop it off at your door, you can tip me 55%. I do accept tips. I will wait. I will drop off the package, and I'll wait outside the door until you get home from work and wait for your tip. Come on, pay up. Tip, please. Funny story about tips, though, with Subtlety. Every summer, Howard Schultz of Starbucks fame has a house out in East Hampton, and he orders a bunch of tea to his house a couple times a summer. What? Which is so funny because he owns Teavana, so he's like, I own this tea company. Let me buy stuff that tastes way better than my shit. That's crazy. Yeah, so that I never see him. It's just if that's not advertisement enough, Brendan. There you go. So there's like a bunch of people that work on his property, and they have me go into his little ping pong room and drop it off in there. And then this guy gives me $20. And I'm like, that's almost as much as the tea costs by itself. That's crazy. How did he even find out about Subtlety? I don't know. He first started ordering it ships to Florida.
and then we saw the address, and it was like,
Does he know Kyle?
no, he doesn't know him. But the address, it was crazy to find the address, and it was like somewhere near where, what's his name? Epstein lived. It was like in the Epstein neighborhood. I'm like, whoa, that's some fucking money right there.
What kind of fucking names are you dropping right now, Brendan? What is going on?
Either we're as like in Mar-a-Lago somewhere with our other buddy. I mean, he's one of those big bad dudes.
This is kooky.
Yeah.
This is kooky.
So I'll see like his Seattle license plate in the driveway. I'm like, I want to fucking key your car.
2 limited flavors that are out right now. What are they?
Oh, sweet potato and wild honey mint.
Wild honey mint?
We added honey to like mellow it out. We added less sugar. The mint is fresh, picked from our friend Matt's garden.
Oh,
a lot of fun stuff.
Shout out Matt.
Shout out Matt.
We're gonna plug him later.
He's a cool guy too. Barnaby Black is his brand. He owns. He's a small business owner too. He distills down like weird, wild plants to get the essential oils out of them, and makes candles and waxes and balms and stuff out of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look
He's
at
a cool
this.
guy.
Support your local business.
Every year for Christmas, we collect everyone's Christmas tree in the town of Sayville, and he distills the oils out of those and makes stuff out of them. So it's like a tree cycling thing.
You get every tree in Sayville?
No, we just like we get like a good fucking big pile though. So it's like a yearly thing, so the town usually knows about it. And people just like drive by in their trucks, throw a tree out the side, and keep driving. Or they hang out with us. And Subtlety usually brings hot tea, and we just like pour whiskey in it and stand outside and burn trees.
That's pretty cool.
It's fun. I don't know how we got here.
So what's
the
code? What's the code you could use?
The
to get a
code you can use
discount
to get $2 off is Hoppy Boys. You can listen to that show. We'll have a very special guest coming up soon.
Ooh.
You'll want to hear that one, and you can listen.
I'm gonna come and bomb that interview. You guys are gonna be talking. I'm gonna just jump in, and then I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna get out of it.
You better not, or else I'm never coming back. So look forward to
You're never coming back.
to that. Listen to Lonely Boys and get excited for our award show and interviews, or else.
And Paxton's going to be on Lonely Boys in about
maybe kind of close to BB4, honestly.
Couple months. Yeah, Paxton will be on that. I am going to plug my brother, Matthew Del Rey. He's a great guy. If you see him, be nice to him. He's at the Giants games all the time. He works at the Giants games. You see him there. And if you know what he looks like and you see him there, give him a hug and a kiss. God knows he needs it. That's going to be the new. That's going to be the new one. That's the new plug I have for Matthew. Give him a hug and a kiss. God knows he needs it.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. Play Sea of Stars. Do you think there's time for you to play tonight?
There might be. Might get a little play.
Brendan's going to play a bunch of wheels.
That's all I do.
That's all.
I was so mad I got to the top of the tower, and I was like, oh, let me play this one. This is kind of cool. And the guy's like, oh, you fool, you haven't beaten all the champions. Like, oh, now I got to go do that.
Oh, you got me, you motherfucker.
That's neither here nor there. No one knows what we're talking about.
No, people know. Sea of Stars is a good game. People have been playing it.
It's great.
But yeah, Brendan, ask me that question for the last time for Floorball.
Oh.
For games, at least.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Oh,
bye.